we can start. So thank you so much and welcome everyone to this session. This session will be about how will cars be refueled in 2032. I don't know in reality how this will work, but the proposal is to do a pre-mortem analysis in terms of a map driving approach, taking into account that we are not going to have a data driving approach, and that will be something that it will be necessary to do for sure. And the topic, it's something that we all can see in our cities. If you live in a rural area, it's going to be slightly different, but it's also something that can be discussed in that landscape. So first of all, thank you so much for Simon for letting us all to use this method, and that it's named Barley Maps. And as ground rules, I will be reading the chat. So in case that you want to make or ask some questions, please in case that you want to make any question, please let me know. So let's go ahead. So first thing I want to, will you invest in electric vehicle charge station? Yes or no? I want the people attending the call to get this as a challenge. As Simon was commenting before, we can do pre-mortem analysis, that it's a challenge itself, or a post-mortem analysis. What I'm proposing here is to do a pre-mortem analysis. And in the challenge, I want you to have personal exposure. And I invite the people to think about that they are putting on the table their own money, and that they are also taking a loan to invest on this and to take the risk of going ahead on this. Why? Because I want the people to have the uncertain feeling, and that at the end of their own analysis, they have to make decisions and go through decisions with personal exposure. Is completely different that to look at the problems of third parties, where you are not going to be exposure to that. Okay, so mindset, it's you're an investor, you have personal exposure to this, you have to make decisions, you and your family or your whatever you want, it's you have to be accountable in front of that. So let's try to do in that way, and think about your geographic area, your city, etc., etc. Then, so first, it's let's start with the user needs. You have a fossil car. I have a diesel, and I used to go to refuel, and I used to do it when it's empty. So in my case, I don't take the car so much. I live in the city center, but in general, the main needs is, well, I need to refuel, and then I go to a filling station and refuel. Filling stations are now with a store, so many times when you think that you have forgot something, you say, okay, in any case, I have to stop in the filling station, so I will buy that thing in the store that they have. So this has become an habit, and everybody that they have a car, they have that into mind. And well, lack of time, it's something that you never want to stop and to do it, but you have to do it. And right now, it takes a few minutes to do the refilling. You go, you pay, you put that and on the car, and then the gas go into the car. The point is that in some places, for instance, in Sevilla, you can do it openly, you can do it by yourself. But right now that I am in New Jersey have a law where individuals cannot refuel by themselves. It has to be a professional person that they have to do it. So again, we have a new thing that it's a legislation that it depends on where we are. Then, if we look at a little bit further, and we look at the oil industry, we have the filling stations that they have offer fossil fuel, and we have the distribution of that fossil, the oil refining, that it's very commoditized, and the oil extraction. The oil extraction, it's something that it's very evolved too, but it's the oil exploration what it takes the difference. And it is a big, in the financial markets, this is considered the big moat. It's the high cost of exploring and being able to find out a new source of oil. It's something that it's extremely expensive. And it's what is making these big oil companies to survive, and they are not enabling that the new players are going in. Then, so that's a little bit what is happening right now. Then, what we have, this is what I am proposing to is, well, we have the emergence of the electric vehicles. I am using these new conventions that it's a future consensus about minority, equal, and majority. It is expected that the electric fuel will be increasing. This is something that we know, but we don't know when it's going to happen, and we don't know when the diffusion waves will be happening. They already have happened, some of them, but we expect that in the future will be happening more. The question for the investor is, when is the best time to start to invest that will enable us to take the return as soon as possible and to reduce the risk, the personal risk, the personal financial risk that suppose this investment. So for that, we will have to look into different climatic patterns. That it's something that we will do. Then we understand that the fossil fuels will be decreasing. So the switch point, it will be that in the future, initially, it's expected that it will be decreasing, and that the filling stations themselves, they will evolve. There are so many the evolution in the filling stations during the last year, during the last 10 years, but more is expected on that. Oops, sorry. Then I would like to put something into the table, and it's the time charging an electric vehicle. So I have added some very optimistic times about how much time do you get to recharge your electric vehicle, that you could do a fast charge or a full charge. And I have been talking to a person that is working with electric vehicles batteries, and he told me, well, this list is very optimistic, but it's something that for sure it will evolve, and the industry is working so hard to really improve this time. And basically, it's because in reality, this is a hurdle and a stopper for more people to be investing to that their next car will be an electric vehicle. The point is that when we have to do a full charge, we need some hours right now. Are we going to be 4 hours in a filling station? Are we going to spend all that time without doing any other thing else? Probably the answer probably is not. Well, we could have the opportunity that in our house we have the possibility to connect our car, and that it's something that we could do. But not everybody can do that. And here is where the shopping centers, where we, by average, spend more time, and that themselves they have evolved in the last 10 years. Shopping centers is just as a place to shop, where you could have so many different stores, and you could go there and buy so many different things. And they have evolved, and they are offering restaurants, they are offering different type of activities to try that you go there and that you spend more time there. The point is that if you have an electric vehicle and you have in mind that at the end of the week or in the beginning of the week you have to go to a shopping mall, and you say, well, I could take the opportunity and do a full recharge to my car. So that could be a way to don't have to be 4 hours in a filling station, that it doesn't make sense for anybody. So, well, one of the big questions here about the future of the filling stations is how the habits of the people is going to evolve, and how once that more and more people are going to have electric vehicles, how it's going to be the best way to do that full charge. Because the fast charge is something that it has better solutions right now, but for a full charge, it has different approaches for the people that they are not able to do it during the night at home. And here, as we want to talk about co-evolution, I would like to look into this different perspective. The charge technology, the filling stations that they are ready for the electric vehicles, the percentage of electric vehicles that we have in the market, legislation, and habits. And what I have done, it's to identify where today in 2022, where they are. I have used the cheat sheet where the different characteristics of each one of the stage, Genesis, custom build, product, utility, you could have. And this is what I have write down, and I have uncertain, because I don't know where this is going to happen, about the future with respect to electric vehicles, legislation, and habits. I don't know where they are going to go. So if I move this, and before to move at that, I want before to move this into a map, I would like to review this that Simon was commenting before. It's to try to make the difference between diffusion and evolution. If we look at the electric vehicles, we already have different some diffusion curves of the product, and there has been some milestones that they have done that the presence of electric vehicles in our cities have been increased. For instance, the Spanish government in 2017, they started to give different subsidies to try to promote that more people take electric vehicles. And this type of subsidy, it's making, when the budget is over, you can see that the people are more reluctant to acquire a car, and they are waiting for the next one. And we will, and when you look at the percentage and the number of vehicles that they are being sold as electric vehicles, you can see that the subsidies are helping a lot to promote that the people get engaged on that. Then at the end, as Simon was telling, it's that evolution at the end of the day consists in many waves of diffusion or diffusion curves. And all these waves have their own problems. And it's important to identify if that the hurdles that each one of the waves are having and how the evolution continues on that. So now, the 5 perspectives that I was talking about, I have put them on the map. We have the new habits, we have the percentage of electric vehicles, legislation, chargers and technology, and the electric vehicles filling stations. So I have drawn in blue the capital flow and the positive tensions that they exist with them, and how, as I commented before, some legislation that comes with a subsidy and money from the government, discounting in terms of taxes, giving directly money to the people so that they can acquire one. It's making that the percentage of electric vehicles is increasing. And this is also promoting that people are requiring to have access to filling stations where they can charge their cars. And the electric fuel, it's also being impacted, because right now the electric fuel, so many of the electric fuel comes from fossil. And this is very interesting. Everybody thinks that the electric fuel comes from renewable energy, and it's not true. It comes from the same place, the oil. The point is that the companies that they are investing in electric vehicles filling stations with the purpose of increasing their profits, they are investing in renewable energy, that it's making that in the future they will have better profits than directly to acquire fossils. So at the end of the day, when we look at our local legislation, I look in the legislation in Spain, and when we look at the different things that they are happening in our cities, I live right now in Sevilla, and I can see how this evolution is happening, and how so many different electric vehicles charging stations are showing up in the malls, showing up in places where there are so many offices. So in Cartuja, there are so many offices there, and there are electric companies adding filling stations for electric vehicles. Because at the end of the day, so many people are not working remotely, they are working in their offices. And it's a good opportunity. You are in the morning, you connect your car, and you are 4 or 5 hours connected, so you have a full recharge. So, different champs. This is something that was happening in 2019 and 2022, and it's lines of people waiting to get a full charge or a fast charge. This is going to continue happening until everything is stabilized. This will be continue happening, and we will see local news, called TV, or showing up this. These 2 pictures belong to California, that is more advanced than Sevilla. I have never seen this in Sevilla. In Sevilla, there are few amounts of electric vehicles. So we are still laggards with respect to other regions where they have a more accessibility to the electric vehicles, and that the people are adopting quickly that in other regions. Probably happening. So is this going to happen again? For sure. I think this is going to be happening for the following 5-7 years for sure, and that we will see this more times. So from the 5 components that I was talking, I have added how they could be evolving by themselves and the dependencies that they have. And this is at the end of the day what evolution, so co-evolution means. The way we evolve in reality depends on the others, and to understand what are the components that drive that evolution, legislation, electric vehicles that they are being sold, how the government is adding to that legislation some subsidy, how they are trying to be more aligned with ESG principles that, for instance, Spain is committed to reduce, and all European countries are committed to reduce the carbon footprint, etc., etc., etc. All this is linked, and all that it's promoting what at the end of the day we call evolution of the electric vehicles. But to understand in this ecosystem how every different angle it's happening, it's something that it's really key to understand how it works. So the simple co-evolution in terms of the habits, it's okay. I have the change of law against the fossil fuels have promoted the electric vehicles, increase the number of cells. Then that's making that electric vehicles filling stations that we have today to make 4-hour full charge make us to have new habits. And these new habits, we don't know how they are going to evolve. And this is what the whole industry, I guess, is asking for themselves, is what are going to be these habits? How we can promote ourselves to be there for these new habits. And this is something that the oil companies, electric companies, and probably the big rates and shopping centers are asking for, and are asking how the people are going to adapt to this new situation where instead of taking 10 minutes to refuel a diesel or a gasoil car, they need several hours to do it. How this is going to evolve. So that's the reason I put in the Genesis. I don't really know. There is a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of potential value that it's being identified there by so many people about what is the people going to do with this time. It's a part of taking a car stuck in one place, so the electricity goes into the battery of the car. I know this talk is about co-evolution, that is a climatic pattern, but in the promoting analysis for the investors that you are, we should look into other climatic patterns, and I would like to do that. The first one that I would like to review is that change is not always linear. As we have seen, legislation is and subsidies are pushing a lot the electric vehicles. You can see a chart there about the number of electric vehicles sold in the United States during the last 6 years, and you can see that it's not linear. So when we as investors look at forecasts that they are linear, we should avoid to look at those numbers. We should be better paying attention about changes in legislation, changes in the way that the brands are selling the cars. For instance, I was asking a taxi driver about, one day I took a taxi and I was asking this person, okay, I have seen some taxis that they are Tesla. How about that? How are you have a car as an asset, and for you it's an investment. And the taxi driver told me, well, we all have Excels. All the taxi drivers have Excels with the numbers that they cost to the whole vehicle, that it's insurance, the car, the gas, the reparation, the times that they have to go to the garage, because and they basically do it with the number of kilometers that they do to this car. And he was telling me, well, you know what? Tesla is investing a lot to try to capture taxis, because taxi drivers are every day in the street, and they know that if a taxi driver has elected that car, it's because it's something good for them. And yeah, everybody reads the same map differently. That's completely right. And this taxi driver told me that with the new price of the oil and the reduction of the government, a Tesla was really something that was starting to be something that makes sense from the investment point of view for them. And that was the reason that some taxi drivers, they were taking a Tesla. Because in addition, they know that if they have a Tesla, they are going to be attracting more customers. They are competing. So they want to attract customers. A Tesla is a good way to attract customers. So change is not linear, it's not always linear. Other climatic pattern to take into account is competitors' action will change the game. And here, this chart, it's related to the 5 force of Michael Porter that talk about the different positive tensions that you have between suppliers, buyers, the products, and the new entrants. And here it's what I was talking, that we need to pay attention to what electric vehicles brands are doing. We have to pay attention to the legislation. We need to try to pay attention about what the customer is doing and all these tensions. If we are going to invest to have a charge refilling to be offered to the people, we need to understand all these tensions and the competitors' actions. And in our case, we should be looking at what the oil companies are doing with their filling stations. We should be looking at the electric companies, what they are doing. They are major players, and what the shopping malls are doing. And here you will say, well, where are the rural places where these type of chargers are required? Yeah, they will be probably required. When? I don't know. So looking at that, the competition actions will change the game. We can see this in the oil industry, electric companies, and rates. Rates, it's real estate investment. I don't remember the T. But basically are companies that they have land and real estate that they offer to others. So majority of shopping centers in United States are really renting to a real estate to a rate. Okay, so here if we as a local investor want to play the game into this landscape, we need to look at the supermarkets, electric companies, and the rates, what they are doing, and when they are investing, and how they are doing that. So in Sevilla, for instance, you can see that all big malls, they already have an electric vehicle charger station. It's very small. So some of them, they all have between 4 and 10 places where you can park and you can connect that. So they already are investing, and probably they are learning about the consumption, the money they are doing, the infrastructure that they need to get all that electricity there, and etc., etc., etc. So they are already doing that. Some electric companies are investing in the Cartuja. Electric companies are placing electric charge investment activities, and they have places. So they already are learning and experimenting about what is the impact that these stations are having right now in 2022. You cannot measure evolution over time or adoption. That's right. That's completely right. We are not able to anticipate when. It's easy to anticipate, and it's more easy to anticipate what will happen, but it's very difficult to anticipate when it will happen. And by that reason, the right way to do it is to listen what is happening in our map, to listen and understand what is happening in the shopping centers, in the number of electric vehicles that we can see in the streets. Read about the numbers, about how many electric vehicles are being sold. Look at the new electric vehicle filling stations that we have and the amount of chargers that they have. And for sure, to pay attention to the legislation. Right now, there is a lot of legislation removing hurdles for the investment in electric vehicles. But we all know that there will be a moment where the legislation will impose restrictions to the electric vehicles in some way. And that will slow down the diffusion curves of new electric vehicles. So we need to pay attention to all of that. I have added the characteristics of Genesis components, and on the right side, the more evolved components. And what Simon proposed here is, as you cannot measure evolution over time or adoption, the best way to do that is to look at the characteristics of the components of your map. If they are rare or if they are ubiquitous and very well understood. 10 years ago, an electric vehicle was not really understood for the average user. Right now, everybody knows what it is. So this is something that we should pay attention, and to try to not look that the different waves of diffusion is what it's going to mark the future trend. So I'm finishing. I have added some things that they have not been considered in this map-driven analysis. Charge at home, lower number of cars, a specific country or geographic area, because the legislation is completely different. Public parking. There are some local governments that they are adding their own electric vehicle chargers to try to promote the use and to also to take some money for the city council. And hybrid cars. Hybrid cars are really an important element in the transition, because first, they demonstrated the technology. Second, the consumer really understood how electric vehicles were going to work, and people saw that electric vehicles was something that was real. So many people 10, 15 years ago, they were very reluctant to admit that the electric vehicle was something that was going to work. And right now, I think few people think in that way. Gameplays. I have not reviewed any type of gameplay. I have tried to do a promoting analysis before that you as an investor build your own roadmap about how to invest and how to take your money and decide where to invest, when to invest, and how to invest on that. And I have not also reviewed any type of alternatives, energies as hydrogen, GLP, etc., etc. So my focus was very concrete on the electric vehicles. And these are the 5 climatic patterns that I have reviewed. There are others that when you look at the list, you can review before to make a decision about when to take action on that. And I invite to review some others. I did a small look into the city I live, and you can see on the left gas stations that we currently have and electric vehicles chargers. So you see that the electric vehicle chargers are growing up, and we also need to think about different notes that I have taken. Some of the gas stations, they already have an electric vehicle, and this doesn't appear in the map of the right. So they are already there, but they are not being shown. The other point is that during the 90s in Spain, and probably in other countries, this is something that was also considered, that so many gas stations, they were in the middle of the city. And there were some laws that they were considering that inappropriate or risky, and so many of these gas stations, they were removed. And this is something that, is this something that will happen in the future with the electric vehicle chargers? I don't know. What I have not considered here is also the number of filling points per station. So as I say before, this is a map driving analysis and not a data driving analysis. So it has a lot of gaps. Okay, so I see this is why Tesla was done clever thing between electric vehicle and the supercharger network. I agree, Philippe. This is in fact, in my case, I can see that there are 4 superchargers from Tesla in Sevilla, and they are mainly they are already being the first mover, and they have a presence in all the major malls from Sevilla. So all the malls that they are considered like high-class malls, they have electric vehicle chargers, and they all belong to the same company, Tesla. I don't know what happens in your city. While other manufacturers have stuck to the principle that they were not in the refilling business. That's, or even the electric, that's completely right. That's completely right. And we can see that there are so many links between that. It's not only the manufacturing side, it's also the software side of all these activities. The point is that I don't know in other countries, but in Spain, the electric companies, they are already investing on that. I think that this is a threat for the old companies and the companies that they have distribution in filling stations. So companies as Iberdrola or Endesa, they already are creating their own electric vehicle rechargers, and they already have presence in the city. Again, I think this is the first investment that they are doing. They are learning from that, and they probably are going to make decisions with all these learnings and with the fact that this percentage of electric vehicles, number of cars, it's going to increase. So that's it. So that's all from my side. I don't know if there is any question or someone wants to make a question. In any case, thank you so much for your time. So if you have any question, please write it down. Technology and Martin says technology and behavioral change will drive the future. Individual pricing already rolled out by Tesla in order to avoid the overload situation. Yeah, I agree. Blocking charges, dynamic price according to rate of charge, depending on the stage of charge. Battery levels show prices before reaching supercharger. Yeah, that's the dynamics of the markets are going to be very interesting. And as it's happening with other industries, as the or companies like Uber, that they can take advantage of the prices that they are being offered depending of the volume of demand that they are having, and they are playing at that level really, really well. And people are starting to think that, oh, okay, there are a major event, and suddenly all the Uber prices scale up. So I think that in terms of charge, and the battery levels, that the companies know what is happening in your car, and Tesla know what is happening in your car, believe or not, but it's happening. Probably they are going to be able to show prices before reaching the supercharger. This is very interesting. Before this session, I was attending the session from Per Green, and he was talking about infra ethics. And here, infra ethics, it's really, really interesting. Market will split into two scenarios: hypercharging for long travel and slow occasional charging. Yeah, this is what typically is called fast charge or full charge, while regular shopping of at the workplace. Yeah, I think that for people living in cities, shopping and the workplace are mainly the places where we spend more time. So this is a potential place where we should do the full charge. Yeah. The full charge will be the exception, not the rule. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know, but that's a good point of view. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, that's true. Right now, even doing long distance, doing smaller chargers improve the total travel time. That's completely true. That's completely true. And this is where the industry of the batteries and the chargers need to evolve. The main due is to battery technology, and we will remain like there will be no hydrogen. Okay, I'm not very well. I don't know very well the hydrogen industry, so I cannot tell. Thank you, Holger. This is due to it's a myth that charging using hydrogen is faster. Okay, as I say, I'm not very aware about how hydrogen technology works, so I don't know. Thanks for the input, Martin. not as the charging, but as fuel itself. Okay. Thank you, Felix. So that was the idea of today. For sure, Martin should be next year. We want to listen and hear about hydrogen and how this is evolving. The point again is that if you like the idea, pay attention to that and pay attention as you are investing your money, and look at all the angles that you need to look for before to do the investment, and try to understand the opportunities, try to understand that there will be opportunities for local investors on that. Today, there are so many gas stations that they don't belong to the big brands, that they are locals, families that they have a gas station, and they have better prices, they have a different offer, and they have their own problematic to make themselves sustainable in competition with the big players. This is going to probably happen in the electric vehicle industry, and I'm sure that there will be local people that they will find solutions to provide electric vehicles chargers in specific places, that they are different to what the major electric companies and the major oil stations are doing. Felix has sent us a Toyota Mirai. I didn't know that. I think everybody knows that Toyota has done a really good work identifying that the hybrid cars and Toyota Prius was like the first big car that was being sold across so many countries, and they have done a lot for the electric vehicles with the use of the hybrid cars. And I don't know in the places where you live, but in the place where I live, I see a lot of Toyota Prius and other hybrid cars that they are really present there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alfonso. Thank you, Felix. Oh, for those that are interested on the topic, if you access to the blog joapen.com, you will see that I have published this. If you look here, I have published how will cars be refueled, in case that you want to review the content, or you are interested in one of the charts or of the maps or the concepts. You can see here the different content and the source of the sources of that I have used. So I think that that's all. Thank you, Felix, for